Assalamu alaikum 10th class. In Pakistan studies, we are starting the government of Mohammed Khan Junejo of chapter number 1. We have discussed it earlier that in 1985, non-party based elections were held in the country. These elections were conducted by the government of Ziaul Haq. These elections were non-party based. It means that all the candidates of elections, they were not supported by any political party. When these elections were conducted and assemblies were formed, now a need was felt that there must be a prime minister. On March 20th, 1985, Ziaul Haq proposed the name of Mohammed Khan Junejo as the Prime Minister. He consulted with all the members of National Assembly, and after their approval, on March 23rd, 1985, Junejo became the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Ziaul Haq was not in the favor of political parties, but after elections in form of parliamentary government, there must be political parties. So, Mohammed Khan Junejo made his political party from 237 members of National Assembly and 190 members supported him. They made the ruling party, and the remaining members, they formed opposition. After that, in November 1985, a bill for the restoration of political parties was introduced in the Assembly. All the members of opposition, they opposed the bill, but with the approval of President, that bill was made the law. After that, on June 1st, 1985, the assemblies of KP, Punjab and Balochistan, they demanded to end the martial law. But some members of National Assembly, they demanded that before ending the martial law, the enforcement of Islamic system should be started. Junejo, who came on the post of Prime Minister with the approval of President Ziaul Haq, he also demanded to end the martial law. That created the rifts between the President and the Prime Minister. On the condition of the 8th Amendment, Zia accepted the bill and he ended the martial law. 8th Amendment is the power which gave the authority to the President to dissolve the government, the National Assemblies and all the provincial assemblies. On December 31st, 1985, Junejo's government announced its party program. It was based on 4 years. The main points of the program were: number 1, the government wanted to establish an Islamic democratic system in the country, which will be based on the ideology of Pakistan. Its second point was that government wanted to make a just economic system in the country for the social well-being of the society. And they wanted to eradicate the unemployment because they wanted to give more job opportunities to the people. Its third point was the eradication of illiteracy. They wanted to minimize, they wanted to make it less because they wanted to prepare the new generation for the new age of science and technology. Its point number 4 is The eradication of corruption means that they wanted to end or minimize the corruption in the society, because through that they wanted to give the justice and social security to the people. Its fifth point is that national security and sovereignty. This is the essential thing for the government, and it will be based on balanced and non aligned foreign policy. Non aligned foreign policy means that we were not in the support of any superpower, but we will be in the favor of all the superpowers and all the neutral countries. The important steps that were taken by the Prime Minister were that he gave the ownership of land to the slum dwellers. Slum dwellers are those people who live in tents or row houses. He gave them the ownership of the land. And he also gave the work to OGDC, Oil and Gas Development Corporation, to explore oil undersea. Ziaul Haq appointed the Prime Minister from Sindh because he wanted to keep the conditions in control. And he never expected that Junejo will oppose the martial law or the army. Ziaul Haq made the cabinet, which was reshuffled by Junejo. His step created the gap between the president and prime minister. Afghan Jihad, which was supported by the government of Ziaul Haq and Khwaja and Sahibzada Yaqub Khan, was the foreign minister who was engaged in the situation. He was removed from his office, and Junejo himself became the foreign minister. That also created gap between the president and prime minister. On Geneva talks, we have discussed it earlier that prime minister signed the agreement without the permission of the president. President Ziaul Haq was not in the favor to sign that agreement, but Junejo paid no attention on the advice of the president. On 10th April 1988, the country faced a very tragic incident. A fire broke out in the arms depot of Ojri camp in Rawalpindi. Many lives were suffered due to this incident. The inquiry commission was proposed by Ziaul Haq, and its report was criticized by the government of Junejo. Again, that created a rift between both the personalities. On May 22, 1988, Junejo moved for Korea for an official visit. But over there, he again criticized army. When he came back on 29th May, the next day, that is 30th May, Ziaul Haq used his power of 8th Amendment and he dissolved the National Assembly and all the provincial assemblies. And he removed Prime Minister from his office. He gave three reasons. Number one, the discontinuance of the process of Islamization. That was the demand of the people that Islamization should be enforced in the country. Second was the slowing down of the democratic process. Obviously, when there will be a gap between the president and the prime minister, the democratic process will be slowed down. Third point is the deterioration of law and order situation in the country, because national security is the most important aspect for the government and they cannot compromise on it. And whenever there will be clashes between the president and prime minister, there will be a threat to the national security. There were clashes between president and prime minister on different issues, as president did not want to sign the Geneva Accord but prime minister did it. Same is the case with the Ojuri camp. Junejo criticized the military and its functions. So on the basis of these reasons, the assemblies were dissolved. After that, Ziaul Haq government announced to hold general elections in the country. Benazir came back and she took part in election campaign. But before the elections, on 17th August 1988, Zia's plane, when it took off from Bahawalpur airport, it met an accident and he was killed along with other 30 members. After the death of President Ghulam Ishaq Khan, who was the chairman of the Senate, he became the new president. And Mirza Aslam Beg was appointed as the new chief of army staff. Thank you.